frame. Yay!
Yeah,
Awesome.
my face is in the frame.
So Rosie, that was fucking awesome.
That was pretty cool. Are you going to say what we just saw? Or
Yes,
should I?
yes. We just watched Laura Bates, the founder of the internet site Everyday Sexism. She was giving a talk. She's written a book recently, and there's a literary festival going on at the university. So we just kind of sat in awe as she told us all about her amazing project, where she brings women together to actually talk about the problems that they face in the world, and it was so good.
And it was lovely, and everyone walking outside right now just looks really happy and empowered.
Yeah.
Which is also lovely. So, yeah.
We've literally
feminists
seen
get
our
angry,
friends.
but we also get really happy as well.
We've literally seen our friends coming out going like, yes! Oh, it was so good. So, broad outline of the things that happened. So firstly, she kind of just went through how she ended up founding it, because she'd had a week of back-to-back harassment, and she said that the thing that really made it happen was that she would often get these sort of sexual harassment, street calling, things like sexist audition calls, and things like that. And that would happen throughout her life, but it was when it all collated into 1 week, a really intense week of sexism, that she finally sort of started asking other people about it, and pretty much every woman she asked had had some sort of problems. And there are some just amazing stories that she gave of really horrible things happening. Yep. What have you written down?
Well, I've started off with depressing statistics, so I might say a few of
Go on,
those.
do the depressing statistics.
One I found particularly... I've got one which is intersectional, so that's really cool. But also really sad because it's a shit statistic. Half of disabled women experience domestic violence. That's horrible. That's
Yes.
completely horrible.
That is pretty horrific. She did give us 100 and odd statistics on different things. The really interesting thing was that she gave the sort of typical statistics about women in law and politics, and those are things that we've come to expect quite a lot. But then she said, but you think that women would do better in the arts. However, here are some of the instances in which they're not. So what was it? In the National Gallery, the UK National Gallery, there were 2,300 different artworks in 1 year. Only 10 female artists.
Yep.
Out of the whole lot.
I've got another one. The Royal Opera House has had no female choreographer for 14 years. I'm pretty sure that's ballet, which is very female dominated. So
Yeah. There are lots of worlds that you think would be stereotypically female, but actually it's men that rise to the top. If you think about the largest fashion houses in the world, like there are women at the top of the field, but a lot of it is Marc Jacobs and lots of men.
Yes.
And all sorts of other statistics, and then horrible sort of domestic abuse statistics and things. Apparently there's a phone call once a minute to the police about domestic abuse.
1 in 5 women are victims of sexual violence in their lives.
So these are often, the thing that I found is that these are often statistics that you think you know, or you kind of know how bad the situation is, but then when someone actually shows you on paper, your jaw drops, you go, oh God, I knew it was bad.
Yeah.
I forgot how bad.
The thing that really hit me, just generally what I find effective to making me realise things, was some of the personal stories that women had gone through. Some awful, awful things. I haven't written them down.
I've written a few down. She sort of picked out common themes. She said over 3 years of running this project, they've had around about 100,000 entries. And she picked out a couple of common themes, one of them being the sort of minor incidents really feed into really serious things. One of the examples she gave was of a Portuguese woman who just tried to ignore 4 men catcalling her, and then they tried to drag her in the car, which is pretty horrific. And then she talked a bit about intersectionality, and she noticed that you really don't get discrimination based on disability one day and being a woman another day. It is, they are constantly intermingled. So one of her examples was an Asian woman was out with her husband and someone shouted asking if she was a mail order bride, and a disabled woman was asked to do a pole dance around her walking stick.
Pretty shit.
Pretty horrific, frankly. And yeah, so there was a large part of it was just a bit depressing, just telling you how shit things were for women. It wasn't until the second half of the talk really that we saw the good side of this and how women have sort of come together, and people feel better and they're much stronger. And some of the tactics that she described that people have been using are hilarious and wonderful. Oh, they're so good.
Okay.
What are some of the ones that I...
So there's the ones where a popular sports commentator tweeted before a football event.
Yeah.
Give us some something along the lines of
hashtag Tits Out Tuesday.
Yeah, come on, ladies, give us some fun before the event. When we replied, sending sort of nice boob puns. So there was one with 2 pairs of tits, like literally the birds.
Yeah.
2 of them down, like flying around
a pair
together.
Of jugs.
Yeah.
Some nice baps.
A cute little lass, which is my personal favourite, which is still up there. Could I move the camera?
Yeah. Just to make things difficult and
annoying. It's a donkey.
No, not far enough. No, we're not really going to see it.
Okay. Well, everyone...
There's some donkey ears. But anyway, it was really
it was nice.
very cool. And the lecture theatre was packed.
Yes.
It's a huge lecture theatre. I don't know how many it seats, but pretty much full.
Insert picture of lecture theatre here.
And what else was there? Well, there were quite a few men. It was mostly an audience. It was
mainly female, unsurprisingly, sadly.
And I thought it was a really good thing that there were only 15 minutes for questions, because we both take a feminist philosophy course, and we're getting a bit fed up of some of the comments in those classes, because it's like, you're forgetting about this marginalised group, and you're forgetting this thing and that thing.
So,
like, we need to get to the next slide. I know the world is shit. Can we please get to the next slide? I have an essay to do.
There's 2 things going on there. On one side, trying to be as progressive as possible is important. It's why we have things like intersectionality.
Yep.
It's why we have... It's why we've gone beyond really getting the vote. It's what drives women forward, feminism forward. However, like... women being hostile to one another in feminism can be pretty bad, because it's pretty shit being a woman, and it's, if we are constantly arguing with one another over things in a
it's
sort
the minutiae
Yeah.
of feminist discussions that annoy me, when people are like, it's hard to describe, but people basically arguing over the tiny little phrasing and wording of things, like, there's a bigger picture here, let's fight the real fight. That's where I get annoyed. But everyone was lovely in the questions. I've got some other examples of the hilarious ways people are fighting back. So there was one case of a single mum who kept on getting people calling her up and asking to speak to the man of the house, so she would give her phone. She'd give her phone to her 5-year-old son.
What else was there? Oh, there was just brilliant
ones. There was a guy in an office who, whenever a woman was getting annoyed with something or saying something to him, he was just like, oh, don't worry about her, she's on her period. And she just turned around and said, what was it? If I had to bleed every time you pissed me off, I'd be anemic.
There was another one where a woman in a train, she asked a man on her carriage to move his bag for her, and he told her to grab his cock, and she said, I'm sorry, I don't have any tweezers. So that was pretty funny as well.
It's all that classy.
So that was really funny.
It's good. It's good to have funny responses to sexism.
One thing I particularly liked about this talk is talking about freedom of speech. So freedom of speech, I feel, is often thrown around as an argument without people really understanding it and trying to use it in ways where it just shouldn't be used. So we've seen this in many things. We've seen it in like offensive comedy, particularly here it was found in hate comments, internet trolls. This woman who gave the talk experienced horrible online harassment to the point where people were literally describing what style they were going to kill her, in the style of which serial killer they were going to kill her. They're saying they're going to rape her, they were going to do horrible things to her. And a way that people often defend it is going, oh, it's people's freedom of speech, people can just say what they want. I really liked how she phrased her comeback. It was, so these comments effectively shut down her freedom of speech. So she can't talk openly about her experience as a woman, about her experience with sexism, which is clearly very important considering the comments that she's getting because of these comments. So they're effectively shutting down freedom of speech.
There was another thing that I really liked, of a funny thing, which was a feminist blogger, which I might have to start doing.
Oh, yeah.
A feminist blogger, and she kept on getting these guys who would say horrible things, and so what she would do is she'd write down the IP address and everything, but before she would upload the comment on her site, she would change the comment, so it's like, I just really love your blog, it's so good, I'm such a feminist, and then they'd come back and be like, I didn't say that. So she's like, I just want to reiterate that I'm such a feminist and I really love your blog, so that's going to take on that tactic, hopefully.
That's really cool. I endorse that.
Just wonderfulness.
So, and also one of the women in the audience is doing her dissertation on online feminism. So basically a dissertation on Eleanor, which I think is a brilliant subject to do a dissertation on. So
there are lots of people who
go
do
that person.
But yeah, it's pretty cool. I guess we don't have much to say other than bye. If you haven't ever checked out the Everyday Sexism Project, do go and check it out. It will make you feel better about the world. It'll probably make you feel bad about the world first, and then it will make you feel better about the world.
www.everydaysexism.com.
Wonderful. And she's just published a book as well.
To make it look smooth.
Laura Bates. I'm going to go buy that book and read it pretty soon. So,
okay.
Woo! But first I've got to do my feminist philosophy reading and my sex ethics reading. Woo! All right, thank you very much, Rosie, for talking to me.
Thank you for having me.
Sorry, there's no sandwich.